Ready? Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to Gettysburg here on 2024. We've already got the cell phones going off behind me. I've got people looking at me all around behind this camera wondering what I'm going to say. And I don't really know what I'm going to say because I just printed this off literally 12 minutes ago. All right, so we're going to try to do what we can, but I'd like to tell everybody in 2024 that we have great weather. We have overcast. I hope it'll show up well on the film today, but I can't remember in all my days a July 1st we've ever had this cool before. You know, if you think about it. So we're very blessed about that. So, you know, as we typically do every battle walk, what I'm going to do is try to take the big picture and then go down to the small picture, because we're really minute today as far as action. This is not one of the more famous actions that most people study for simple reasons. I think that this unit, Rowley's Brigade, Biddle's Brigade, I'm going to refer to them as Biddle most of the time. I think Biddle is overshadowed, frankly, by the Iron Brigade. I mean, they just are. I mean, it's just the Iron Brigade is too big a star. I think I already saw T-shirts, you know, with the portraying. I mean, Biddle's Brigade doesn't get a T-shirt, so they don't. But you know, oh, here we go. Do you know who's on there?
Yeah. Chapman Biddle.
All right. Who else?
Roy Stone.
Roy Stone. And Stannard.
Yeah, George Stannard.
George Stannard from Vermont.
Yep.
Okay, so I used 2 out of 3.
Yep.
Okay. Right there. We'll get back to you in a minute. As you can see, the T-shirt man is here in full force. Whoever the T-shirt man is. And this poor gentleman from Bill's Towing over here who just accidentally got on tape. He did not want to be. Okay. I got towed one time by Dick's Towing. Yeah, you should have seen me get in my car too. I met him. You can figure the rest. He turned out to be what he was supposed to be. And the price he named was the price I paid. And that's how that worked. Okay, get focused, Matt. So, I can't tell y'all how many times that I have driven past those monuments we're about to walk to. I mean, I just drove past them all the time. Why? Because I come down here to stop number 1, and this is where we do the program. And all of y'all are focused on 2 things when we get to stop number 1. The average visitor is focused on 2 things, right? You're focused on the Iron Brigade, Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, and you're focused on John F. Reynolds. Well, you should be. John F. Reynolds is a pivotal moment in this battle, you know. I mean, it's not like it can be overemphasized or anything. But that's, once again, I think that's why Biddle is left out. So how do we get to Chapman Biddle being here on July 1st? On the Battle of Gettysburg and never get it until you get it, right? The Confederates are sitting right outside the current park boundary and they can see their objective, and they've been held up for a couple hours by this Union cavalry and they're tired of it. Their objective is there, and this cavalry does not stop infantry. And so the division commander, shakes out a battle line including Archer's Brigade on our side, the south side of the Chambersburg Pike, Davis's Brigade on the north side of the Chambersburg Pike, and they start to advance. I won't cover the north side because I don't think it's necessary, but that's going to involve the railroad cut and everything. But focusing on what we're on today, Meredith's Brigade deploys and they advance this way. So the Union line is advancing down through these woods. They repulse Archer's Brigade, suffice it to say. How many casualties, I could not tell you. The Iron Brigade is in for a lot more fighting before the day is over. I have no idea what they sustained in the initial action, nor do I know what Archer did sustain but I can tell you that Archer is the first Confederate commander captured, I should say general, captured from the Army of Northern Virginia during the war. And that's a big deal. In other words, this is a pretty big bloody nose for Harry Heath when they initially come out. And so, as they come up here, as the Meredith's Brigade advances, that is, not telling you most of you anything, that is when John F. Reynolds is going to fall. So, follow me here, because this is the important part as it pertains to us. When Reynolds falls, his division commander, I believe it's the 3rd Division, commander, the senior division commander in the 1st Corps is a guy by the name of Abner Doubleday. All right? And Doubleday is, being senior, is elevated to Corps commander. Now, when they rode back to find Doubleday, the staff officer was incensed because Doubleday was out there with the staff playing a round of baseball. In the field that we now know is short. Right there. All right. Doubleday is promoted, then the chips fall behind him. Rowley, the brigade commander, senior brigade commander in Doubleday's division, becomes division commander. So it's now Rowley's division. And that leaves Chapman Biddle, the senior colonel, regimental colonel, who is elevated up to brigade. So once again, Corps, division, brigade, regiment. Everybody bumps up on this turn. And that's why Biddle is all of a sudden thrust into this command situation. Apparently he had been off and on June 30th, had already been in command a little bit, but July 1st, yeah. All right, so Chapman Biddle's original command is the 121st Pennsylvania. He is a Philadelphian. I believe he's 41 years old, and he is a former lawyer. Now he is a military officer. Okay, so with all that being said, Reynolds down, Doubleday up, Rowley up, Biddle up, etc., the field goes quiet for a couple hours. That is the point where we're going to take up our narrative. The Iron Brigade has advanced through the woods. I'm going to get a little bit deep in the weeds with y'all. But when you come down Meredith Avenue, I mean the modern-day Park Avenue, and you see the Iron Brigade regimental markers in the woods out here, we're not going to walk down there. Interestingly enough, those monuments are not in the order of the battle. They're in the order which they were redeployed in after the attack. I know that's trivia, but that's what you people live for. That's why you buy the PCN app. So you can be down in Florida and you can watch and say, you know, honey, did you know that the alignment of Meredith's Brigade is actually for the second attack in the woods, in McPherson Woods, Herbst Woods, or Reynolds Woods? Did you know that they had 3 names for the same woods? Honey, all right? Honey was not part of the battle order. Okay? But Meredith's Brigade is in that alignment. So what you need to know is they're in a crescent shape. So they're basically deployed in the woods. And unlike today, it's hot. You don't want men in the sun if you can help it, especially wearing wool uniforms. Is itching to get back at these Federals because he doesn't like losing. All right. Now, when Rowley, the division commander, arrives upon this field, he is instantly having some command and control issues. The issue, and I never thought of this because I never really studied it that hard, or the Union order of battle right here. His division of 2 brigades, Corps, Division, Brigade, Regiment, his division of 2 brigades is split in 2. Roy Stone, the Bucktails, you know the people y'all call the fake Bucktails? Oh, everybody's looking now, man. Fake bucktail. I love a fake bucktail. Right there, all right? Well, I'll send them spinning, won't I? So, Stone's brigade is sent over there by the highway. Follow me here. Meredith's brigade for Wadsworth's division is right here. All right? And then over here is Biddle. So you got Stone, his first brigade, and then you got a second brigade, Biddle, that has another brigade that doesn't belong to Rowley in between. You see what I mean? You've got, this is not a continuous line through here. This is so where's Rowley supposed to be? He can't be two places at once. You know, he tries to be. And with the brigade commander, it's like, I imagine it's like the president and his cabinet, you know? The further you go down, what are you doing, smile? The further you go down, the lower the rank of the officer, the smaller the staff. And so when you're bumped up from colonel to you basically go up to brigade commander, you don't have the staff. And when you're Rowley and you become the division commander from brigade, you definitely don't have the staff. So he's pulled. I don't think a lot of people realize that about Rowley. Not that we're going to do the whole thing on Rowley, but he does have his own headaches when he gets out here. All right. So Doubleday division. Remember, there were 3 divisions in the First Corps. They were Wadsworth, Doubleday, and Robinson. I don't believe I have them in order as far as 1, 2, 3 right there. Where does Robinson's division go? Oak Ridge. They go toward Oak Ridge, right over there. See, I knew I had some people out here. Like Paul Stanley said at the concert, "Kiss Army Unite." So Doubleday's division, not funny? No. Doubleday's division arrives at 11:15 and along with Robinson's division and took position behind Seminary Ridge. We're going to talk about Doubleday coming on the field. We'll see how this goes right here. Now, my son, everybody keeps asking me about old Ben Lee back there. Ben Lee has become quite the teenager. I'll see if I can drag him out here tomorrow, but Ben was not wanting to be awoken at 6:30 this morning, even though I put the cat on him. Let him do that. So, we have to bring in reinforcements. So, to show you in PCN world and also in YouTube world why Matt, his hair at 53 is white. In order to illustrate this, ladies and gentlemen, we now have the first half of Matt's problem right here, and her name is Emma. How about a nice warm round of applause? So, I believe this comes from the history of the 20th New York. And if I use it interchangeably, I haven't announced the brigade yet, but if I use it interchangeably, it's the 20th and the 80th are the same thing. Don't ask me which one's correct. I think 80, right here. All right. So this comes from there.
Initially, Rowley's brigade deployed in the woods along Hagerstown Road, right towards Willoughby Run. The Ulster Guard on the left.
That's the 20th. Pause for the period. All right, take a breath, everybody.
The brigade then advanced some 200 or 300 feet through the woods on the north side of the road, when it was forced by the right flank and moved through the fields towards Gettysburg, crossing Willoughby Run between the road and the house of D. Binfrog, around which Buford's dismounted cavalry were skirmishing. When the brigade reached the foot of the ridge east of Willoughby Run, it filed to the left and took position of the line of battle on the slope of the ridge and nearly opposite of the seminary.
Behind you, not you. Where do you see? See the seminary?
Seminary facing west. 10 minutes later, the brigade was ordered to advance over the ridge near the grove where General Reynolds fell.
Okay.
Along the top of the ridge on the opposite side of the enemy's sharpshooters, and the field was alive with them.
So rehash real fast. To rehash real fast, Doubleday's division, Rowley's division, is over there basically where the intersection, somewhere around the intersection of the Hagerstown Road, modern day 116, and West Confederate Avenue or Seminary Avenue. In other words, where that red light is. They're initially in that, probably close to the modern day YWCA, all right? They have apparently advanced into there was a patch of woods, which is pretty much the same patch of woods. I don't know if it was as close as it is today, but they marched them. What do officers do? They take care of their men. They marched them into the woods, and then apparently Doubleday's division, not that you need to know this, but apparently at some point Doubleday and Robinson's division were formed behind the seminary in column, not in battle formation. But that's where Robinson's division, for you Gettysburg buffs, marches north to take up their battle position. And Rowley, I don't know if it happened simultaneously or not, but shortly thereafter, if it didn't, Rowley's division, and especially Biddle's brigade, is going to start marching over opposite the seminary and then advancing up to here. Okay. But anyway, that field, you could have seen beyond that tree line in 1863. All right? You could have seen beyond that. And so when Biddle's brigade gets along Willoughby Run, which is along that tree line right there, well, guess who's showing up in the field opposite? The Confederates. Except they can't see them. For whatever reason, there's a field of wheat. I don't know if the Confederates have dug in over there, if they've got a few little skirmish posts, you know, little holes in the ground, foxholes, even though they didn't follow them. But anyway, they can't see them. And you talk about the consternation of a private. The privates would write after the war, who would, in so many words, who was the dumb butt that marched them out there and got them shot for nothing? Okay, so this is where she's taken up with the narrative right here. Right in this ravine.
In this ravine, the brigade found itself under a hot infantry fire. It was unable to see the enemy from the loam from whom the fire came, and did not attempt to reply it. It was not probable that anyone knew just why the brigade was sent down into that valley, and it was soon ordered back over the ridge to the position from which it lost marched. The Oyster Guard was then directed to take position on the top of the ridge, whether it marched and halted, remaining there in the line of battle and receiving an occasional shot from the grain field beyond Willoughby Run.
Here? All right, come on out. Who else you got? All right, give me one more, two more. I'll take all of them. Mama. Come on, Spider-Man, you come? No? You'll be facing the right way. Oh, here you go. All right, right here. Okay, well, we're going to put you right here, young lady. You two line up right over the other side, okay? You line up right here. Okay. Now I'm getting into the big picture once again. If this is Biddle's brigade, and we'll make her a little artillery battery right here. We'll bring her back in just a minute. But if these are the four regiments of Biddle's brigade, from left to right, when Rhodes shows up, and I'm talking Confederate right here, and I'm talking to you people, this is a battle walk. This isn't for the layman, remember. When the Confederates show up at stop number 2 at the Peace Light, all right, Biddle's brigade is facing west. When the Confederates come in from the north, from that direction facing south, that could be a problem. It's one thing to be shooting this way, all right, as the Confederates will be doing. How many men can I take out with a cannonball shooting this way, toward the east? However, when the Confederates come in from the north, y'all don't move. When the Confederates come in from the north, and I position my artillery this way, what is the problem for the Union line? That's right. Even if I miss my target, the overshot, as it ricochets down through there, my probability of hitting somebody increases dramatically because of the angle in which I'm firing. That's an old artillery trick. We'll cover that tomorrow, more in depth with McGilvery a little bit, and the type of rounds they'd be shooting. But nevertheless, Rowley, Biddle has got a problem here. So what does he do? The brigade is back here where you park your cars. Now this is the craziest thing, but you probably never even realized this. But in order to alleviate the casualties here, somewhat, what does Biddle have to do? He changes front. So what I want y'all to do is face me. Now form a line facing me. Right, go over here. Form on the gentleman. There, come on around, Aubrey. You stay there by your brother. Hardest thing you ever do is meld different families together, I tell you. Yeah. All right. There's been one Confederate attack. We've covered that. Now Heath is going to attack again later in the afternoon. That's probably going to be, 2 or 3 hours later when he starts his advance. What has happened in the meantime? More Confederates have shown up at stop number 2 and over here at Barlow's Knoll. So the first thing that happens is the Confederates are attacking basically from left to right, their left to right, not the Union left to right, but Confederate left to right. And that attack rolls around the town of Gettysburg. When they advance again, this is going to be Pettigrew's brigade coming, not Archer. This is the 2nd Confederate Brigade. And this thing is huge. So, but my point, going back to Biddle, when Pettigrew's North Carolinians start advancing, y'all don't move. When Pettigrew's brigade starts advancing here, he's not a division commander yet, all right? When he starts advancing this way and toward the Confederate position, what is the problem for Biddle right now? That's right, he's lined up different. He's lined up the wrong way. All right, you kids go back to your first position. There you go. They're not only getting hit from the front, they're getting hit from the side. Biddle attempted to change front. In other words, he tried to shift this brigade around to meet the 52nd. But quote, the ranks were broken and became massed together during the movement. In other words, all heck broke loose when they tried to change front under fire.
Would soon have turned our flank, taken the brigade in reverse. It was almost as dangerous to retreat as to remain, for we were now receiving fire on both flanks as well as in front, but no remain was to be captured. But to remain was to be captured, and pouring on a volley into the enemy as they came rushing up the slope in front. And at short range, the order to retreat was given.
We're getting into the 47th, 50. I don't know. Let me just say what I do know and I don't know. I don't know the exact stopping point of the 52nd North Carolina and the 47th North Carolina. I don't know anybody that does. I could go out there and guess with you. But they're two large regiments. What I'm saying to you is I don't know out of 1,000 Confederates out here who's shooting at who, or what unit they're up against. They're probably just shooting at everybody. Oh, look there, Bob. Let's shoot him. No, Phil, I believe I'll take a shot over here. You know, I did have that glimpse, though. Every once in a while, you'll run across a glimpse of how soldiers think and how it really was in the firing line. And I hate to get out of order, but I believe this comes from the 151st, from their leader, McPherson. He talked about real briefly about, and he was an old man, but you could tell, you know, it was coming back to him. He talked about standing there here on July 1st, and the Union soldiers standing on this ridge line firing, and he recorded what he remembered them saying. And the Union soldiers, if you can imagine something abstractly as this, he would go, the soldiers would say to each other, that one fell, got him. That one fell nicely, I'll get him. They're picking out targets. They're talking to each other as they're firing through there. You know, oh, I'm going to try for him over here. Watch this. I'm going to bring down the flag bearer. Stuff like that, you know. It seemed to be a lot calmer than I imagined, at least for that brief moment. And I guess it has to be if you're going to be able to shoot straight. The 142nd, Private Edwin Gerhard, recalled that, quote, the Rebs kept steadily advancing until we could see their officers stepping in front, swinging their swords. Suddenly a cloud of smoke arose from their line, and almost instantly the balls began to whistle about us. Captain Horatio Warren remembered men, quote, mowed down by the terrible fire from front and flank, and then in sheer desperation we were ordered to charge. That order came from the brigade commander, Colonel Chapman Biddle. And Biddle, once again, just like Gates, grabs the regimental colors and led the men back into the fray. John Thorpe, who Aubrey was reading from just a minute ago from the 47th North Carolina, recalled the moment. He said, just then a federal officer came in view and rode rapidly forward bearing a large federal flag. Can you imagine, in the midst of these bullets, some guy comes up over this ridge with the U.S. flag flying? Can you imagine? I mean, that's 4th of July stuff if you ever had it right there. The scattered Federals swarmed around him as bees covered their queen. Isn't that cool? In the midst of this, oh, I'm glad you're not here, Aubrey. In the midst of a heterogeneous I want you to know my mother guided me through the Mississippi public education system. I would start the school day. I would come home first day of school. She would ask me what teachers I had, and by the second or third day I was picking my books up and moving to another class. And I never knew why until I was an adult. All right. So we got 3 regiments. Look at where y'all came from. All right, look at where the battle line is. Now, why are we all the way up here in these woods with 151st Pennsylvania? All right? The reason is that the 151st is advancing from the seminary. Now you can see it better. And they're advancing straight across here. Now, the 151st was known as the school teacher regiment. Although only 60 men listed the occupation, the guy leading them was 5'6", 145 pounds, 28-year-old, square-jawed, broad forehead with a beard, gentleman named George McFarland. The mayor of Company B said, this was the first sight I had of the rebel stars and bars. There was a full regiment from 50 to 100 yards in front when they got here. Wow. 151st opens fire. The instruction schoolmaster McFarland now paid dividends. Quote, having previously cautioned the men against excitement and firing at random, and the enemy being partly concealed in the woods on lower ground than we occupied, I did not order them to fire a regular volley, but each man to fire as he saw an enemy on which to take a steady aim. This was strictly observed, and during the next hour's terrific fighting, many of the enemy were brought low. Corporal Nathan Cooper observed also that his gun on this hot day became too hot to handle. Couldn't fire it anymore. All right. The unit, as they conduct a fighting withdrawal, and they're going to lose some more at the seminary, so I'm not saying everything is left here. Out of 467 officers and men, they lose 337.
Arrive on the battlefield really until late on July 5th. By that time, it's too late to photograph anything on the field because he doesn't know where the fighting was. All he knows is one thing, and what is that? One of the ranking generals in the Army of the Potomac was killed in this battle on July 1st. When John Fulton Reynolds fell here at the edge of these woods on July 1st, that news traveled like electricity through the Army of the Potomac and reached the press, what they call the Bohemian Brigade, the press and photographers that were traveling with the Army at that time, and within hours, that news had spread all across the North.
The photographs were taken out here, and I also recommended to Matt that we come over here where we might get a little bit of shade. I didn't realize it was going to be 65 degrees on July the 1st, after it has been 95 degrees for like 3 weeks. Anyway, the photographs were taken, I believe, down the ridge near the 121st Pennsylvania Monument. One looking that way, one looking that way.
Thank you for watching our video. Please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, please leave those in the comments section. We'll work on getting them out to you as soon as possible.